Hey everyone, how are you today? And welcome to another fantastic stream of the Suzette Speaks show. I am Suzette Speaks. I'm a TV host and attorney here in Miami, Florida. And I want to welcome all of you who are watching, whether you are watching on my YouTube channel. Big up all the YouTubers who are watching. My alarm wants to go off, of course. But big up all my YouTubers. Welcome to everyone joining on my Facebook pages, the Suzette Speaks Facebook pages. I want to welcome you to a Sunday stream where we'll be talking about marriage and motherhood. I have two phenomenal ladies who have decided to brave these waters. They are attorneys by trade. They run an office together, which I find very interesting. I'm going to ask them a little bit about what it is like working with your sister. But in addition to that, they have managed to navigate the waters of a marriage as well as motherhood, while they also run a successful business. So this is not easy to do. We hear all of these tropes in society about you can't have it all. You got to pick one, education or family. But what I really found so interesting about them, in addition to their background, they are Haitian American. They are also, just seemingly, and I'm sure behind the curtain, there's more to the story, but it seems like they got some kind of like magic wand, because for some reason, I'm watching them and I admire them. And in full disclosure, I know them in real life. So when they approached me with regards to coming on, I thought, you know what, we could talk law, but I think people are more interested in how such dynamic women have managed to seemingly have it all. Now, I'm not going to give them all that pressure to think, you guys, that they have all the answers. So they're just going to give you their personal experiences. All right. So they're not going to speak for every married woman, every mother, every person who is trying to balance all of these hats, as well as being entrepreneurs. But what I love about them is that they're genuine and authentic women, and they're here with the intention of helping, right? So we're going to peel back the curtain and discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of millennial motherhood. They are fantastic practitioners, first and foremost. I'm going to give them their props. They run a law firm here in South Florida, a title law firm, real estate law firm, where they help people with closings. They also I'll let them tell you what they do. But in addition to that, as I said, they are both moms and they have really little kids. So every time you see these ladies out here, they make us think they're able to do it without breaking a sweat. But I know just because life is what it is, and this journey is not for the weak of heart, that they might be sweating a little bit behind the curtain. So I'm grateful that they were brave enough to step forward. We're going to talk a little law, but of course, today we are going to talk about millennial motherhood. Again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me see who's in the chat. Again, welcome. Again, my name is Suzette Speaks. I want to welcome all of you watching on Facebook, watching on YouTube, or watching the replay. What's up, Team Replay? Glad you found us. And please hit the like button. You know what to do. When you hit the like button, it helps other people get to see this type of content. So if you want to see more of this type of elevated discourse where we're talking about issues that affect both, and we're talking to women today, but the family is for all of us, right? So if you want to hear more about how we can create, and what I love about them is healthy, hallelujah, relationships, healthy family dynamics, while we try to get this bag. Again, they're doing it so well. And as I said, I don't want them to feel, that added pressure that they're speaking for everyone everywhere. But we're just going to hear from them on a personal level today. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit of business too. So welcome. Hit the like button. Let me know if you're watching. I see you in the chat. RM was first today. Thank you, RM. Welcome, one of my fantastic moderators in the building. I see you, Doug. What's up? Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. Say hello. Don't be bashful. Let us know that you're watching. I see you, Sunbreeze. How are you? Nice to see you. Welcome. WT Funk in the building. Awesome topic. Thank you. Glad you agree. Hey, Rolanie. Nice to see you, and welcome Gail at Night in the building. Another fantastic content creator and moderator. Thank you so much for being here. Peace to you, my brother. So without further ado, let me bring up the ladies of the Clerge Law Office. Ready to spill the tea on millennial motherhood. Here they go. Welcome to Lourdes W. Clerge, as well as Myriam Clerge. How are you, ladies?
Hi, you two.
Hi. Nice to see you. Welcome, ladies. I'm so glad y'all hit the like button that we are here having again a Sunday afternoon chat. It don't have to be so formal, y'all. We are attorneys. Notice how we are all kind of kicking it. We are real people too, dressed down and relaxed on the weekends. I'm just trying to enjoy life. So before we get into our topic, ladies, I would love for you to introduce yourselves. So welcome. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since I'm the eldest.
Yay! Go ahead, Lourdes.
I'm Lourdes Clerge, an attorney here in Fort Lauderdale. I'm a co-owner, co-manager of the Clerge Law Office with my sister Myriam. And we do real estate title closings, landlord, tenant evictions, bankruptcies, as well as foreclosure matters, foreclosure defense.
Awesome. And I'm glad you're here. And to the little sister, here she go.
Yeah, I'm always the little sister, always younger sister, really, but okay.
Oh, there it is.
I'm Myriam Clerge. I'm partner at the Clerge Law Office. As she said, my sister said, we do real estate, we do title, we do foreclosure. Since this topic is about marriage and children, I have two boys. One is 3 years old. The other one is 7 months as of 2 days ago. And I have been married for what's going on 6 years.
Awesome. 6 years, 2 little kids. Oh my goodness. I'm wondering again how y'all managed to make it look so good. This is a fantastic topic. It's timely. There are several of us single, looking at this dynamic and wondering, is it for me? Is it something that I could do? Is it something I could replicate? And what are you dealing with behind the scenes? Even though, like I said, we attorneys, ladies, let's just say we can put it together. We know how to walk into a space and put that mask on and look like we got it all together after we just left yelling kids or husbands who were, on our nerves or whatever the case may be. And I'm glad that you guys are here to just open up about this topic. So let's start the conversation. Actually, let me check the chat. Canes for Life 02 says, love to see it. Andrea La Loca, welcome. Glad you are here. Yes, thank you, RM. Put your location in the chat if you're watching so we'll know. And again, hit the like button if you don't mind. We are going to ask you also to visit Clerge Law Office on social media. There you go. It's in the chat. So look at their socials, guys. On Facebook, /Clerge Law. And on Instagram, same thing, @Clerge Law. Okay. So ladies, who wants to work with their family? Come on, first and foremost. How did you guys decide to go into business together? What's that story like?
Well, I think we both left the private sector around the same time. Lourdes decided to start the firm. I think I left the private sector maybe 6 months or so after her. So once she decided to go solo and she let me know, I decided to jump right on it as well. So let's do this together and let's just build a legacy with our name on it and for ourselves and our children.
That's what's up. So, okay, let me back up a minute. So you both decided to go to law school. Was that something that, first of all, tell us how you grew up. Was that something that your parents instilled into you? Did you both already know you wanted to be attorneys? Did the big sister follow, start the journey and the little sister followed? Like, tell us a little bit more about your background growing up.
Lourdes, you can go ahead. When you said chose, I chuckled. There was no choosing. Our parents are both Haitian immigrants. We're both first generation everything, first generation high schoolers, high school graduates, first generation college graduates, first generation law school graduates, all of that. Wow. So growing up with our parents in North Miami, Florida, our father is a very strict man. We're the only two children from both our parents. There's none other besides the two of us. Our father was very strict in many ways. One of the primary ways was in terms of education. Education was paramount, absolutely paramount in our household. And when it came time to graduating high school, there was no doubt that we had to go to college. And in a way, he almost chose the college for us. There really wasn't that many. And to be really honest, law school wasn't my primary choice. I've always loved design. I've always loved the arts. I actually remember preparing my college application to go to a school of art in Connecticut, and that application just disappearing. Meaning
leave it to the strict Haitian daddy to be like, oh no, this is not going in the mail magically.
Wasn't having
I know you go in there for art, but how about this? This is not what we're doing. Oh, it sounds so familiar. Trust me, I lived. Wow. So when people say, oh, you were grown, you can decide. I'm like, where they lived, who they live with. That's not my family. We didn't go against our parents. What are you talking about?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, even I was supposed to be the lawyer and my sister was supposed to be the doctor in the family. And Myriam, having a lot of friends that went to UM with her and having a little too much fun, didn't cut the mark to go to medical school. So
hey, talk all the business.
Whoa.
Let her tell her own story.
That is not my ministry.
Tell guys, sisters indeed.
It's what I definitely recall, but Myriam can tell that part.
That's how you recall the facts. Okay, got it. So she said, okay, this works out. And as I say, parent approved. If you didn't grow up in that kind of really strict household where, again, parents kind of laid out your life, your plans, how you would move, where you would go to school, et cetera, et cetera. That's very interesting. So Myriam, let me hear your side of the story. So how did you grow up and what made you decide to go to law school?
Yeah, well, it is true that I was supposed to be the doctor in the family. That is true. He only gave us I think 3 choices, either doctor, dentist, or lawyer. So
that was added for me. The Jamaican side was nurses, doctor, and lawyer. So we could do the nursing thing.
I don't know why the dentist. I don't know.
And maybe teacher, but no, they weren't really feeling that. But you got dentist, so that's interesting.
Right.
So yeah.
So I think once I went into undergrad at UM, there was that influence of, find something that you really enjoy doing. And I really liked math. So I majored in finance, and then I didn't like math so much once I got to accounting. So then I double majored in business law, and that I really enjoyed. So I decided, let me just go ahead and go to law school. So no, it had nothing to do with partying, nothing like that.
Hey, come on now, big sis.
I'll keep the
let me
secret.
tell you, business law was a fun class.
It was, yeah.
I enjoyed business law in undergrad so much. That also did open my eyes too. I was like, ooh, maybe I'd be good at this. We had a great professor. Shout out to Professor Emerson. But anyway, so you guys both decide. How far between when you started law school, Lourdes, did you come after, I should say, Myriam?
Lourdes went to law school in 2004. Right?
Lord, I am being dated, Lord.
Yeah, don't tell all the business. I was just asking what the difference was.
It's fine.
You're like, let me tell y'all what's going on.
There was a 2-year difference. There was a
2 years. Okay, got it. Did you guys go to the same law school?
No, I went to Syracuse in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I went to St. Thomas.
And you went to where? St. Thomas down here. Okay, cool. My phone want to act up every time I want to come on these lives. Come on now. All right, so you guys go to law school, and I now want to kind of pivot into like the marriage and family life, because one of the things I kind of have expressed before in various platforms on YouTube is to say that, within my family, marriage was not talked about. Like within my family, we were not allowed to date. We weren't allowed to like even think about like anything but education. The only thing that was really rewarded and pushed and planned for you was you're going to get this degree or 2 or 3. So can you tell me about your household dynamics growing up, especially like middle school, high school? Did your parents talk to you about marriage? Did your parents kind of emphasize that you should find a partner? Because it's interesting to me that both of y'all are married, as millennials, pretty young, relatively young, and have families and et cetera. So where did you get that bug? And was it discussed in your home?
Well, I think we're the earlier millennials where we still follow the traditions, still follow the path of going to school, because we're also first generation, but, getting the high school degrees and the college degrees and the advanced degree. So it wasn't discussed in our house about marriage and relationship. We weren't allowed to date either. It was education. Then you get married and then you discover sex.
Then you're going to know what to do. I know that. No lessons before then. Okay. Cool. Let me get with the chat before I get you, Lourdes, in terms of your ideas of where the concepts of marriage and dating and originated. Rolanie says, can I just say, you ladies look really great. Thank you so much. Ace Butterfly in the building says, do the guests deal with heirs property? You all do probate? What does that mean? I'm thinking it means probate, people who die. Is that what you mean?
We do as in the deeds, the transfer of deed, we do that, but we don't do the actual probate of going. You don't do
probate law. Okay. Clarify, Ace Butterfly, for me, if you want to put the scenario in and the ladies can answer if they do that. Hey, Karine. Karine in the building. Welcome. I see you. She's talking about big sisters tell us how it all went down. Rolanie says a lot of first generation kids can relate to having the career being chosen by their parent. Hello, that was the story of my life. I was told I was going to be a doctor almost my whole life. And then it was such a struggle to switch majors in college when I was like, I don't really want to do this. And then it was like, all right, you could do law instead. But we're the same. My brother's a doctor. I'm an attorney. So heck, things work out. Bravo. With Sheila, ladies, let's chat says, blessings, everyone. Welcome. I love. Ace Butterfly says, love seeing these professional ladies with natural hair. Okay, I'm almost underneath it. Show the Black women no longer have to compromise to be taken seriously. Yes, the Crown Act just passed. Also, yes. I was reading that. Maybe I'll cover that like Tuesday. But yeah, Ace Butterfly, if you want to jump in with what your question is as far as what they do, that's fine. I want to do a quick reset here. Welcome, one and all. I see new people have joined. We're having an easy breezy chat with the ladies of the Clerge Law Office here in Fort Lauderdale is where they practice. They do real estate law, among other things, and you can visit them on social media. But today they have braved these waters. They are talking about their journeys as mothers, wives, and how they have balanced marriage and family along with running their own practice, right? So they can be found. I'm sure my moderators are dropping links to where you can find them on social media. And of course, they are letting us have a quick and small peek, I would say, behind the curtain of what it's like to be a millennial mom. So, Myriam, you said because you were probably on the, you said later, meaning kind of like on the older side of a millennial, you were still kind of tied to the traditional values of Gen X and the Boomer generation. So you're saying you still got enough of that expectation, I guess, that you're like, no, we still thought about family and marriage while we were kind of like doing our thing. How about you, Lourdes? When was that idea introduced to you? Did you always know that you were going to be a wife? Did your parents teach you? What was the experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the same response as Myriam. I mean, we grew up in the same household. We received the same lectures. No, it wasn't really harped on as much. What I do recall is that, again, my father being as strict as he is, expected the same level of education in our mates that he wanted it in us. So that definitely put a lot of pressure on the both of us to,
find somebody who matched you. Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. He wouldn't play no games. Daddy was serious about his.
I know, and unfortunately, he never calculated the aspect of love, because love sees. Doesn't see your education, doesn't see your rank. Love is love,
right?
No matter what your status is in life.
So you guys had that in the back of your minds, kind of drill down, like, listen, we got to find the right guy. So were you already thinking about long-term relationships in undergrad, in law school? How did you meet your beaux, may I ask?
Well, I've known my husband since second grade, so I left out. So I kind of knew in like high school that he was my soulmate. So it was just a matter of time for him to figure it out so that we could just get it started.
So you knew he just needed to catch up a little
bit. Exactly. So, it took him a while. So, because we've only been married for 5 years. But I already had the expectation sort of getting married. It wasn't like, my life wouldn't be fulfilled without marriage or without children. It's just that I had already envisioned it. And I kind of knew who my husband was going to be also. So again, it was figuring it out.
Okay, create it and build it and they will come. How's that going?
Really?
Like, You don't seem to understand. You're going to be my husband. So from what grade you knew that? From you got out of high school, or when did you know that about him?
I knew that in high school because we had almost all the same classes from second grade until we graduated from high school. So I'd say like because we got into a magnet program. So once you joined that magnet program, which was like 10th grade, I'm like, I think we're destined to be together.
Oh my gosh. I wish I was thinking like that. Okay, Lourdes, how did you meet your husband?
Well, my husband, we met at a party. I like to say it's a party because the truth is we actually met at a club.
Oh, but, this was in your 20s while you were in college or after law school or when?
Late 20s, because again, I hadn't had many relationships, serious relationships. He was my first real serious relationship. I mean, his first real date. I actually remember going to the Sawgrass Mall and spending, I don't know, it was ridiculous, like 6 hours looking for an outfit for our first date. So we're going on 8 years of marriage this year. We were married in 2014. Once I met my husband, I think that's when when the idea of motherhood, marriage and then motherhood comes into effect. But prior to, I was just, working and living my life as a single woman attorney, and trying to navigate that world that I was in.
So the idea, like I said, I see you, Ace Butterfly. She says there seems to be a theme where Black families don't discuss, the deed. There's huge fear of pregnancy. I think is true. I think they are so trying to keep you from becoming pregnant that it almost precludes any healthy discussion of relationships. Like, come on, we have these feelings.
That's also one of the issues is that, since you're not allowed to date, at least my parents didn't even know what date means. Like, it was like you find somebody you love and then you marry. That's all it was.
For real. People don't understand that. That's for real. That's Caribbean for real.
So, and I think that also becomes a problem because once you are able to start dating, or once you get into that age where they expect you to find someone, you kind of don't even know how to act because you don't even know what you're looking for. You don't know what to expect. And so you might not end up with the right person. You might end up in just crappy relationship that might have some sort of abuse involved or something, or disrespectful. And you end up falling into situations where you end up stuck.
Hello, we had a guest on yesterday. Shout out to Dr. Candace Drummond that talked about a little bit about her story, being in a serious relationship and it turned abusive. And I interviewed earlier last week, Miss Chantel Simone talking about that. Why do women end up with narcissists? Because we hear this word about, be careful of narcissists, but she was arguing or postulating that, you have to be pretty needy to attract the narcissist. So I was kind of like, taken aback because we never really think about the personality that attracts a narcissist. But I think it comes from what you're describing, which is lack of experience. I don't know necessarily that everybody is needy, but I don't think everyone has had the kind of, relationship training or just real life training of, these are different personalities that people have. Here are the signs. This is what you do when you see it. This is when you know to run. This is how, you know what I'm saying? Like, she went through a whole domestic violence situation. Not Chantel, excuse me, Dr. Drummond, yesterday's guest. But yeah, the point being, we don't have, for some reason, this level of education is not prioritized in many Black families. So it can backfire for sure. Ace Butterfly had that legal question. I'm going to see if I can summarize it real quick. There's properties that are owned by multiple family members, but Black people don't know the law and are forced to sell. Once a percentage is owned, the property can be sold. For example, buyers approach the family member. Okay, so let's say this, Ace. I'm gonna put up their information because this is informational today. This sounds a little bit more technical than what we're able to do on the public forum of YouTube. So if you have a legal issue specific to you, it's better that you call them. Call them directly because this show is just for entertainment and educational purposes. But if you want a specific issue, you should contact an attorney like them directly so that they can address. Yeah, we can't give any kind of legal advice in this forum. Okay, so just know that this is informational And if you want that question, because I'm still not quite clear, go ahead and contact them. All right. Lots of love. Thank you, Ace Butterfly. So again, we're here talking. Y'all want to get into law? We're here talking millennial motherhood with the ladies of the Clerge Law Office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They are primarily real estate attorneys, and they're going to share a little bit more about their practice later on. But yeah, so marriage and dating, not really emphasized until they expect you, like, where's my grandchild? And then it's like, oh, okay, where are those skills supposed to come from? So Lourdes, I think because Myriam already had her husband signed up, but he didn't know. So Lourdes, I'll pose the question to you. Were you nervous in that relationship being your first serious relationship? And how did you know that was the right one? How did you know who to pick? Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a tough question for me. I mean, tough and easy at the same time. Tough in the sense that, again, it was my first real relationship. And, when you don't have that guidance as to, there's so much stigma in the especially Haitian Caribbean household.
Mm-hmm.
So much they expect from you in the sense that, sex shouldn't happen before marriage.
Chastity.
Yes.
So yes.
And all of those things, you shouldn't be living with the person prior to marriage. But I think there's a lot of things that you have to do in order to really know that person more.
Yeah.
Really know what you're getting into. I can always remember my first trip to Publix after our wedding, after we moved into our first apartment together. And I remember being at Publix and calling them and say, do you eat yogurt? What kind of milk do you like? What, there was a lot I didn't know about my husband prior.
But that's sweet in a way. That's kind of sweet. I know that's shocking probably in the modern ages that we live in, because we expect to know everything about every part of our spouse before we marry them. But simple things y'all had not kind of discussed. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when we were dating, we weren't living together. We didn't start living together until after marriage. But in addition to that, though, the downfalls are like, there's a lot of conversations that don't happen that probably should happen before marriage, like, expectations in a marriage. What's the roles we should play as husband and wife? Finances, those things weren't, dealt with until after marriage.
So you guys didn't have premarital counseling?
We did. We got married at a Catholic cathedral here in Miami, and it was the kind of basic questions, because remember
they didn't go deep enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just an online class. You just needed to pass it with a certain score in order to move on to the wedding day. And listen, we were just trying to get to the wedding day. A lot of money had already been spent, so we're gonna pass this exam to make it to this this pricey wedding.
This reminds me of I think it was a sermon by Miles Monroe, the late Miles Monroe, Bahamian preacher, rest in peace. And he was like, you got harder questions to get a driver's license than to get a marriage certificate. And I thought about that, and he has a wonderful sermon about what the state really believes about marriage, just based on who they allowed to marry. The significance of this life-changing event is not reflected in our laws and with who and how we allow people to marry, how easily we allow people to marry. That's a great sermon. I might post it on my Patreon or in my community tab. Miles Monroe had some jokes about that. I was like, this is so true. Like, you almost have to have no working knowledge to get married, but you got to have way more knowledge to work a vehicle. Interesting question. Corrine says, I am curious to know if your parents tell you that they are proud of you ladies. And I think that goes to the cultural nuance. Caribbean people, hello. Not the most, it depends, family to family. I'm not going to broad brush everybody, but many families don't show emotional, like, what should I say, affection openly. That's not everybody, but a lot do not. Do you guys get the I'm proud of you, you guys are awesome kind of thing from your parents?
I don't think we get the I'm proud of you necessarily. Like once we passed the bar, once we graduated from law school and we passed the bar, you could see that they were proud.
Yeah, they don't say it though.
Exactly. They don't necessarily say they'll might say a great job to you or something like that. It's not like I'm so proud of you or those specific words I haven't heard.
Yeah. What about you, Lourdes? Same?
The same, but the love and the affection, it comes in different ways. It's very underlying. We're not going to get the hug and the kiss,
right?
But now more though, as adults, I kiss my mom more often. I say, I love you.
I tell them that too. They started saying it after I started saying it. I remember after law school, I was like, Daddy, I love you. He'd be like,
this is awkward. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not the response you give after someone says it. You're supposed to say it back. But I pushed it on them almost.
Yes. Same here.
Because they were not, and I think that's a boomer, maybe cross-cultural African diaspora thing, but every family is unique. I'm just saying as a majority of I've seen, there's a lot of kind of like, I call it emotional constipation.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're proud. Hey, Friendsgiving, but they are proud.
And then to that point too, Suzette, like my husband's family, his mother and father, they are so, when his mother was alive, his mom had, passed in a few years back, but his mother and father they were joined at the hips.
Oh, you have those. There are definitely those. I don't want to say all Black families don't know how to express themselves emotionally. That's not true. But there is a pattern that many folks do experience. And I want to acknowledge Cool Kid 101234 tuning in to see the Powerhouse Live, aka the Clerge Sisters. So excited to see you ladies delve into managing high demand careers and your respective households. Can that be done? Okay, so let's get into it when it comes. Okay, all right. She has a question. What is some advice you would give career-oriented women in their 20s? So there's a whole discussion. And I see a couple more questions that are related. Given your upbringing related to career being pre-selected, would you have the same policy for your children? And Kareen says, same for me. My mom will brag about me to everyone, but will never tell me she's proud of me. That sounds very familiar. I hear you, darling. I hear you. And then we are like scarred. We're like trying to please. I think it's like a Caribbean reverse psychology. So if they don't tell you and they withhold it, you're always kind of like going for it. Me and my friends have talked about this. But anyway, so there's a lot of questions there. Thank you for joining. Y'all hit the like button. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Today is about millennial marriage and motherhood. I have two spectacular dynamos with me. They are the sisters of the Clerge Law Office in Fort Lauderdale. My moderators are dropping their social media handles. If you have a real estate or other type of law question, you can contact them. All right. Offline. We're not giving any advice here, but you can definitely seek out their services. We want to encourage questions in the chat, and I want to get into a little bit more about your lives now, because the online, let's just say, the prevailing narrative online is that we Black women have too much emphasis on career and not enough on family. That's why I was so pleased when you guys said yes, because I'm like, wait a minute. Bucking the narrative are two ladies who are clearly doing both. So going to the question, I think it was Kool-Aid had about what to do in your 20s, and Cool Kid, I'm calling you Kool-Aid. Cool Kid. Sorry. There's this idea that we are so goal-oriented and so career-focused that we are neglecting our traditional roles as women. Okay. So with that as a backdrop, let's talk a little bit about your career life balance, let's say. I'm going to ask you to first answer Cool Kid's question here, and then we're going to go into how do you find time? How do you balance your roles in your home? And then this other narrative, I ask you 10 questions right now, but this other narrative that especially lady lawyers go come home and boss their husbands around. This is what I keep hearing. You're not going to submit. Oh my gosh. You want to tell him what to do. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? What are you talking about? So we're going to get into a few of those. But first, let's address Cool Kid's question. So what advice would you give goal-oriented women in their 20s?
I mean, my advice would just be continue doing you. I mean, in my 20s, I wasn't thinking about marriage or children, I was, again, also because of our upbringing, it's you get the career first, you get the education, the career first, and then you get married. Because you want to be able to support yourself just in case something happens in the marriage if it doesn't work out, and you have to support yourself and your children. So my advice is, if you don't find someone that's going to enhance your lifestyle as it is right now, just keep doing you.
Focus on making yourself better, right? And hopefully, this is the question I think she's also getting to. So, would you advise that she be dating frequently while she's doing her studies? What would be your advice on the dating side?
Definitely date, have fun with it. I mean, get to know yourself too. I think is so important in your 20s, is knowing who you are and what your real wants are, and not so much being influenced by everything that your parents or family or friends have to say, but going after what you want and making that a priority.
So learning yourself, increasing your skills, but people are always, like I said, in this space, kind of harping on the fact that, oh my gosh, y'all want all the career and all the degrees, and men don't really care about the degrees. So let's talk about this dynamic. Ace Butterfly for the win. Do the guests earn more than their husbands? If so, how do their husbands feel about it? Y'all want to get there? Y'all don't have to answer this, but I want to be transparent, because this is where I think people wonder about professional women. Will we marry people that only make more than us? Who wants to address this if you want to address it?
Lourdes?
Okay, big sister on the spot. I mean, I'll answer it because, again, this forum is to educate. It's to be as forthright, with especially the young women watching, to help them out. I do make more than my husband. And that's going back to what I said earlier about my father expecting the same in our mates. My husband doesn't have, all the degrees, but in terms of being a dedicated leader in our home, being a dedicated husband and father, and doing the best he can to always support us, that he is number one in. So despite not having the masters and the JDs and all that other stuff. But yes, I do make more than my husband. But again, that doesn't mean that he doesn't maintain that role as the husband, the
leader of your household. Question: is he the leader of your household?
He's the leader. I do make a lot of decisions.
Okay.
A lot of decisions. Listen, we can never underscore the power of the woman. I mean, from long ago to now, from slave times to now, I mean, women have undertaken so much to keep to get food on the table, keep food on the table, keep
survive in America.
Oh yeah. I mean, there is a lot. I mean, let's just say we are equal in running the household. Okay. 50-50.
So you rely on one another, you consult one another. Definitely. You guys are making joint decisions.
We're making joint decisions to keep the house running.
Okay. Do you want to address this question, Miss Myriam?
Yeah, sure. Since Lourdes already put her business out there, might as well.
Thank you guys for being open.
I do also make more than my husband. He does have the master's degree. But based on where our careers are right now, I do make more than him. But again, it's still I make a lot of the decisions in the household, but that's more because we have kids and I like how things, you kind of have a routine and you want things to function the way you want it to function. I don't really think that has anything to do with who makes more money and who has the better career or anything like that.
So
I think
you guys, to the decision making, to the head of household label, would your husband agree that he is the head of the household, or how does that work? Is it the same as Lourdes, kind of a balanced approach?
Yeah, I would think it's a balance of both because unlike my sister, me and my husband lived together before we were married. We were living in sin. So we had that conversation of finances and children, and we knew, I already knew a lot about him because I've known him for so long, but we knew even more about each other once we lived together. So we knew how to balance and how to communicate with each other respectively. There was no someone talking over the other person, or, I don't have time for this because I got to go to work and I got to make money. It wasn't about that.
You guys were friends first. So
right,
we
were
had
friends
a level of communication that was already deep. And said, why they clowning? Doug in the chat talking about he's the leader. Suspicious laugh. He is the leader. What y'all mad? They pick up on stuff. Keep on with the backup. Yes, good catch, Doug. Okay. We love to have a little humor here. Rolanie, let me see. She adds, I'm married, have a full-time job, and a toddler and an infant, just like these ladies, okay? How do you specifically keep a little bit of spark, okay, in the marriage? I find it difficult to not be annoyed. This is what I'm afraid. You ever think, sometimes I think, oh my gosh, wouldn't after like 5-6 years, the person just annoy you? Jesus, I don't want to say it out loud. Because you've heard all the jokes, you've seen all the moves, you've done all you need to do, but I wonder how y'all keep the spark up. Good question, Rolanie. Do you guys ever feel like this? Do you feel any, wane in sparks, whatever you want to call it? And how do you maintain that?
Yeah, I think there's the issue of things might becoming complacent in a relationship, where you just start to get into a routine and you're just waking up, working, and coming home, watching whatever program on TV and going to sleep. I think to keep that spark, it has to be intentional. I think there has to be, an intention on both parties to either have a date night or, some sort of event or something, just even the small things like, maintain like Valentine's Day or something, or maintaining an anniversary. Just spending more time with the person that you're with so that you can continue having that sort of spark, we'll say. Because there is moments where you're going to get annoyed with a person. It happens naturally.
Human nature.
It happens with a roommate.
And he'll get annoyed with you.
I get annoyed with my sister. I mean,
everybody get a little, like, okay, I've heard that story 20,000 times. I don't want to hear it again. But you love them. That's the difference. Love covers all things, So interesting. This is my question. Thank you, Ace. When the guests were dating, were the men intimidated in dating them because they are intelligent and pursuing law? Did you guys find that when you guys were dating? Or I guess you both didn't kind of like date, but you maybe have talked to a few other people outside of your marriage relationships, before your marriage relationship, I should say. Did you find that people were intimidated by you?
Well, in my circumstance, being that I didn't date really prior to meeting my husband, but in dating him though, I didn't feel any sense of intimidation. My husband's a lot older than me, not a lot, but he definitely has some years older than me, almost 10 years older than me. He's a person that, is, he's a confident man, he's, gone through a lot of things in his life and he knows who he is. And he didn't feel, I never got that sense of intimidation. Okay. But I do know that he definitely wanted, I definitely could feel that my husband felt like I expected certain things. Meaning
from him?
From him. Meaning, I expected, like for instance, this is not to veer off, but I do remember a conversation we had early on in our dating, when we were dating. And then I remember one time he just asked me, where do you want to go eat? This is just, and we keep this as a running joke in our family between us. And I said Burger King, I'm fine with Burger King. Burger King. And I said it only because I didn't want him to feel like I needed to go to some fancy restaurant.
Oh, you was saying that you could go to Chili's, but you really wanted to go to Grand Lux. That's
exactly. Well, we keep that as a running joke because he knew that.
So you didn't want him to feel bad. You were like, well, he probably got Burger King pockets, but and he did it. Was he offended?
No, he thought it was funny because he didn't believe me. He just didn't believe me, just based on, the conversations we had about, the kind of life that, he
wanted to give you.
Yeah. And he wanted to give me. Yeah.
So he already knew this type of woman, I can't be playing with her. But here you go, Burger King. I'll take some. I love it. But listen, when you know who you want, it doesn't matter. Like the money is a part of it, but it's not everything. I think I saw a comment about that. Here we go. Cool Kid says, I agree. Financial support is just one aspect. If he provides in other ways, hello, somebody, and that works for their household, then that's what works for them. Hello. Yeah. I know many more dynamics like this than not. Hello. Everybody is so, I think, not everybody, a lot of folks, especially on the YouTube space, in this manosphere space. And again, I feel like I'm not a manosphere creator. That's a whole nother story, but there's a lot of talk about gender roles. And I do think, especially for professional women, and I said that already, I said it on Dr. Thunder show, when we talk about marriage, we're going to have to revisit this idea of what makes a man. And the pocket of a man is the traditional way of thinking, okay, that can only be if he makes as much as me or more than me. But in today's society, most men actually do make more than women, but there's a lot that don't. There's a lot that don't. So we have to have this open heart. And I think in generations past, especially in the African-American community, women married at all levels, right? This is nothing new. This is not a new concept. But for some reason, I think because of social media and wanting to live a Real Housewives of a fill in the blank life, people have this idea that, oh no, don't you dare. If that man got a good soul, good heart, good spirit, leadership ability, and is willing and wanting to give you whatever type of life that you guys agree upon, this household dynamic that works for the two of you, let's go. This is what I really want people to see, because I think sometimes we get over amplified distortions of what marriage and married life is like. So this is why we're doing the show today. Welcome. If you're just joining, come on in. The topic is marriage and motherhood for millennials. I have two special guests today. They are Lourdes W. Clerge and Myriam Clerge of the Clerge Law Office, a law firm in Fort Lauderdale, and they cater to real estate clients and more. So definitely check them out on social media. Their links are being dropped in the chat. So we're talking about how they doing it. How is the business going, ladies? So let's pivot a little bit. So your days must be crazy. Hit the like button. You know, I just think about, are you guys just tired all the time? Like, this is where people were like, you guys make it look easy. And I'm sure it's not. So what is the most difficult thing to balance for you right now? I guess there's so much I want to ask you about just having the household run smoothly. How do you guys find balance? How are you guys doing it all? Like, is it, do you feel like you have it all? Like 10 questions again, but who wants to start? Just give me your ideas.
It's hard.
Like, I'm tired.
Not even close. Yes, I am tired. Literally tired. You know, I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. I mean, the 2-year-old alone is he is a fatiguing child. You know, I always find it so funny. I always joke around with my husband. I'm like, let's see how many times he's going to say no to us today. Every response is no. But yeah, I have a beautiful 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. It is exhausting. I think the hardest part is separating work from separating work, not bringing work home. You know, I think when you muddle the two, it causes you a lot of stress, and it causes the family a lot of stress. I'm trying to get to a point where work stays at work, and when I'm home, it's home. It's all about the kids. It's all about being present for them, and being present, just being there for them, and just maintaining my role as a mom and as a wife when I get home, and leaving all that work stuff at work.
So the tiredness is real. Let's just I feel tired and I ain't got no kids. So every time I see people with like children and husband to please and all that, I'd be like, God, they gotta be tired.
I think it's a bit different for me because I work from home. You know, because I have a 7-month-old. So it's about cutting out periods of time where it's work and then it's time for the kids or it's time for my husband. So either way, whether I'm at home or whether I'm at an office, I usually have the cutoff time talking to clients at around 6 o'clock. But, you know, if there's like something that needs to be done, if there's a closing the next day or something like that, then I'll go way past that time. I mean, when I gave birth, I think it was less than 24 hours. I told my husband, bring the laptop because I had work to do.
That's the life of entrepreneur. People think it's easier. It is much more work, man. The lights don't, you go home, turn off the lights, but no, you bring the laptop home and you're trying to figure out the next day's plan and how to figure out the work you didn't finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Rolly says, I know I'm exhausted. Life of Cash, I see you there in the comments talking about who driving the car and who have the wheel. I think we got to pivot a little bit from that, but I see your comments. Please leave them there. Life of Cash ads. Ace Butterfly, they're kind of going back and forth. Sometimes people having their own conversations, but it says Black folks were married at a rate of 80% before the 1960s. Now it's 1 in 4 Black women can expect to be married. Is that success? Wow. So you guys, do you feel like I'm going to go back to the balance question, but do you guys feel like you're an anomaly? Do you have a lot of friends or other people that are married within your circle?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I have too. So people are always like, Black women going to be single forever. And I'm like,
but I do have some lady friends who aren't married though.
Yeah, I have about 50-50.
Yeah.
I have people that are, happily married because they ask me, but are they happy? That's why they're here talking about it. People are very skeptical. It's amazing to me. They're like, what? There's not supposed to be happy and healthy Black love, guys. It exists. That's why I'm showing it to you. Let me just ask you for cultural references. Are both of your husbands also Haitian American?
Yes.
Yes, mine is.
Okay, so I think that helps because you guys have the same kind of value system alignment. I think that really helps. So let me get some basics out the way as we talk about balance. Do y'all cook every day kind of deal?
No. Almost
running a business. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna be a superwoman. So I'm trying to figure out what.
Yeah, almost every day. But my husband is great at getting takeout too when it's just too much. When it's one of those days when it's just I just don't have the energy to do it or the time. So he's great at that. It's not anything that's where it's there needs to be a hot plate on the table. If anything, I feel the pressure to do that for him, and he doesn't require that. So I'm thankful for that.
So you try to cook a hot meal for your kids?
I do.
I sound so like, do they get hot food when they go?
I know.
Sorry. That was a little judgy. I didn't mean to be judgy. But what I'm saying is there are people that are like, there has to be, or I'm sure people watching might suspect there's something's got to give. This is where I know people's minds tend to go. So I'm wondering, and I think especially for families, especially, the dinner time, even breakfast and lunch, but mostly people think dinner time is so pivotal for the transfer of like knowledge and, emotional, well-being and things like this. So I'm wondering if you guys have that dynamic. Do you guys sit together at dinner when all is said and done? And Lourdes, you're saying you try to get the dinner together, I do.
And again, it's not happening every day.
Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm not trying to judge that. I'm just asking so people have a realistic picture of how crazy this is.
It's super crazy. And remember, my little ones are small. My 2-year-old, he's great at sitting down at the table, at his little table and chair, and picking up his fork and eating. But my daughter, not so much. I'm usually running around after her, getting her to eat salmon and her spinach. So that's definitely the reality of it. I mean, again, as they get older, though, that is a value I want to instill in my household, at least.
Right.
That sitting down during dinner,
mealtime.
It is so key. I think telephones go away. I mean, I am not.
No, it's serious. Yeah. I know it can be very serious. You want to have that connection.
It's that time to connect. Yeah, it's that time to connect. And
I see myself, whether it's takeout or I cook, or if he cooked, thank you, Miss Globe Girl. She has a lot of men love to cook. My dad too. My dad loved to cook. My grandfather loved to cook. The man in my life, okay, I see a pattern, girl, and I let him. So again, gender roles are for some people, and other people are like, let's go. You like to cook, babe? I'm with it. Let me get Saturdays or whatever it is, or Fun Friday. I don't care. So you try. But it's not always like I have to have it every single day because you have life happening. Yeah. So you try to have that family time. I hear you. How about you, Myriam?
It's the same. I cook almost every day. I kind of followed my mom's pattern where she just doesn't cook on Fridays and Saturdays. And that's what I do now also. But I cook mostly every day. But again, in regards to the whole balancing out, he does the laundry. I don't do the laundry. He does the laundry. He not only washes it, but he folds them also, and he puts them in their place. So,
oh, you get so lucky, girl. That works. We can cook. I don't like doing laundry for nothing. I'll do it, but it's annoying. But it's a part of living, right? But y'all have a balance. Okay, so as far as contributions to household running, I hear laundry every now and then, or does laundry. I hear cooking every now and then, or orders takeout if it's just too late and too much for you. What other kind of balancing aspects do you see when it comes to the gender roles that you guys either express or that your husbands express?
I mean, from my household, when it comes to even cleaning, mopping, doing the dishes, we both handle that. It's not I expect you to do it or you expect me to do it. It's just, if it's dirty and you have the energy, go ahead and do it.
Oh, so there's a service aspect, service to one another.
Right. It's just, if he sees that I'm overwhelmed with the baby and I've had the 2-year-old all day and, or the 3-year-old all day and I'm working and I had a closing, it's like, you can see in my face and I'm exhausted. I'm done. I'm done for today.
I've reached my bandwidth. Right. Do not expect much more from me today. I hear that, but I love that because that's a form of communication. The fact that he can read, your body language, your temperament, your understanding, like, okay, babe has had a long day. Let me try to help out. And that's a beautiful thing that you guys can probably do it for each other. And, kind of like, what should I say? One hand wash the other. I have your back, you have mine. That sounds like, That's it. That's beautiful that has that lives. A lot of people don't get to see that. And again, the stereotype and the social media trope is, oh no, we have to be at each other's necks or one person serving the other, almost below the other. And that there is not this kind of a balanced approach. Now, did that happen over time? Or was that kind of like you had to help cultivate that in your households? Or did you have partners that wanted to like say, okay, what do you expect me to do? What do I want you to do? Or was that even a conversation?
I think once we were living together, before we got married, I sort of have an expectation that, I'm an individual, you're an individual. We both have capabilities. I know you're a man, but you know how to wash the dishes. So I shouldn't have to tell you to wash the dishes. There's dishes there. Feel free to go ahead and wash them. So I think he understood that also because he grew up in a household of women, his mom and sisters. So he already had that understanding and, how to survive by himself also. It wasn't that just because I have a woman in my life now I'm going to sit down and let her do all the work.
Listen, unless you got me home not working, I just believe in balance. Ace Butterfly adds, these ladies seem to share what successful marriages are doing. They complement their spouses and share duties. Thanks for this realistic discussion. They go the life of Customer. Who's the boss though? Y'all so funny. The Miss Creative, nice to see you. Says, hey Suzette, the lovely panel and chat. Okay, thank you. Glad you guys are enjoying. I see a lot of back and forth, a lot of exaggeration about stats. Thank you, Chemo. I see some stats about what Black men make annually, what Black women make annually, etc. I think we've kind of covered the, it's not about really what you make. It's about your overall contributions is what I'm hearing to a successful relationship. So not going to get too deep into that. I want to get into a little bit more about their practice. And if you guys have any questions directed towards how they figure out, what they're going to do between, like, do you have a daily schedule that you guys try to stick to? Is everything kind of pre-planned, especially because you have little kids? How stringent or how tightly, what should I say, planned is your schedule? And then how do you get, and one of the things my guest yesterday talked about was mommy me time. We need the me time. We need, to know ourselves and to know that we are human and paint or learn something new or something like that. So tell me about how you schedule your day-to-day, your Monday to Friday.
There's a lot of planning involved, a lot of pre-planning, because again, we have small kids and both of my children, they're in school. So who's to say that Monday they won't have a runny nose and the teacher's not going to call me to, now pick them up. So once I pick them up, there's got to be somewhere where I drop them off. So there's a lot of pre-planning that has to happen, and scheduling, and shifting of scheduling if necessary. And we both cope with that. And I think having Myriam, thankfully Myriam works from home. Sometimes, she does have to do double duty and watch one of my little ones, if not both of them sometimes, but, and vice versa. But it's definitely a lot of planning is involved, a lot of pre-planning.
Right.
Okay, how about you?
I like to have a schedule, both with my children and with work. With my first one, he was easier putting him on a schedule. I'm talking about feeding schedule, sleeping schedule. So I know when I have time to do work while he's sleeping. The second one hasn't been so much on a schedule. So I'm still, working with him.
You can't get too easy, babies. This is what I'm hearing. You always get the one that's like really like, ooh, this is by the book. And then there's one that's like, really? This is what my child is like. So before we get into more about your practice, how is it working with your sister? Like, there's so many dynamics. I tell people never get in business with family, but there are times, and many times, that it can work depending on the individuals. So how is it working? Do you guys get along all the time? Is it kind of like you guys have defined roles? It's a partnership as well as a family run business. So how do you guys make this work as far as doing business with your family?
Well, I have to say, I really love working with my sister. I mean, the ups, I'll let Myriam handle the downs, but I'll do the ups. The ups is, always having somebody, to bounce your information on, and problems, and we tackle cases together, and all of that. So, a lot of solo practitioners don't have that. And that's been a wonderful aspect, is that, the load isn't so much all on your back. We get to share that load together. And that's a great part of it. So I'll let Myriam.
Yeah, so it's scary sometimes being on your own. Being a solo practitioner is not fun in a way, because you don't have, as she described, that kind of person to bounce ideas off of. Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right motion? How do I write this? Does this look good? That kind of thing. So having that built in kind of both accountability as well as, just a legal mind to be able to help you navigate, like, am I looking at the right rule? Do you see it the way I see it? Fantastic. What are the challenges, Myriam? It seems like y'all get along. First of all, y'all have such a good, chemistry here. I can imagine you guys are great communicators and get along. What would be some of the challenges of doing business with family?
I think it's also just knowing our roles, who plays what to expect from the other person. But I think what we have also done was we've had like breaks where if we had like a communication break where we just were not getting along, it was more having a discussion in person, not via text message, not on the phone, just in person to discuss what our issues are, just be direct up front what our issues are, and trying to separate the family issues or our personal issues from the business. Like we can talk to each other very casually, of course, as sisters, but when it comes to business, let's try and choose our words properly or correctly or whatever, so that we can express how we want things to work in the business so that we can continue to work together.
That's fantastic. And I think that might actually help y'all when it comes to marriages, because that's another tactic, I guess, because there are, points that boil over, right? People, you sometimes personalize things. When people take things personally, oh my goodness, it could be like, well, she know that that's what I do. And how can she be in my, my side of the court, and she know that she's supposed to be over there, and things can get, can blow up. Things can get out of hand if it's not dealt with in a, a healthy way. So it's good that you guys have kind of found a formula that allows you, even when you're upset, like, let's express it in a healthy way. And I think what it sounds like it goes back to is the core value of we want each other to win. So if I want you to win, and I know you really want me to win, nothing is going to break it. And I'm definitely not going to try to kill the relationship with saying something crazy. So let's figure out how we're going to talk about this in a healthy way. That's wonderful. I'm going to drop the link, y'all. I'm going to see if anybody wants to come on into the discussion because I have two wonderful lady lawyers here who are both married, both mothers, two little ones. And running a law firm together, and they're discussing their challenges and triumphs of, motherhood, marriage, and entrepreneurship. So, what do you guys find most rewarding? Do you like the time away from family? I guess when your kids are very little, it might be different, but Some people are like, I can't wait. I need a break from my kids. I need to go to work. Some people, I'm not going to, can we say that out loud? Because I feel like there's a
Yes,
mom.
we can say that out loud.
Yeah.
Bye. Love you. Goodbye. So
Yeah,
do you guys feel that? Do you like that break? You know, some people are like, didn't you want to just be a mom full time? And I don't think that's true for everyone. How do you guys feel about it?
For me, because my kids are small. I have a 3-year-old and 7-month-old. So of course the 7-month-old, he requires me, so I have to be present for him. But for the 3-year-old, before he went to school, it was like, I can't imagine him not being here. It's going to be so hard for him. It's going to be so hard for me. Now that he goes to school, it's like, you need to go to school every day. I don't really care. You need to get out of here. I need this break. You need to go.
No, I had a friend like that during the pandemic, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of judged her. This was the height of the pandemic, and she was sending her kids to school. She had 4 kids, like under 10. So at first I was like, this woman is damaging the kids. The kids might get hurt. Like, aren't you scared they're gonna get sick? She was like, I'm gonna put it in God's hands, and they got to go. Now I can understand like how you, in terms of your own sanity.
Yeah, because you need that break also. And I think my sister had the same plan, and I had the same plan also. For like Mother's Day, it's the husband takes the kids. I'm going to a hotel by myself.
That's about to say, bye.
I'm going to eat by myself. Just enjoy.
No little finger is going to be in my food. No little finger is going to be sipping my cup. Goodbye. I love you, but goodbye. Good for you, though. Good for you.
You need your me time. I mean, that's what I'm planning for my 40th. Is just it's a me vacation. It's a Lourdes. Just being with me, myself, and I. I mean, it's absolutely imperative. I mean, you have to recharge. I mean, when I drop off my little ones at school, at their respective schools, it's like, thank you, Lord. Now I can think. So you got to have
me, and not just mommy and wife. And everybody needs me. Yeah. I hear you. This is a good question, Ace. Do people make you feel guilty because you are working moms? Now there's this whole like, I don't know if it's media created, society created. What is this schism? I can't think. I think of like biblical words today. Like this whole division between, working moms and stay-at-home moms. Are the stay-at-home moms superior to the working moms? Do people make you feel guilty about being a working mom? Not how you feel, but do you get that from other people?
I haven't. I mean, I don't see how anybody would be able to. I mean, we live in 2022. I mean, there's bills to pay. Yeah. I mean, you just, there's a lot of just responsibility. I mean, how are you going to take care of that if you're not out there working, or unless your husband isn't able to provide financially where you are able to stay at home. Again, though, I don't knock the women who are able to do that. I mean, they have that's a big job. A full-time mom, talk about
I think it's stressful. I think they do more work than working moms. I'm so sorry. They do a lot of work.
Yeah, because during the beginning of the pandemic, when I was home, I mean, I was in school, virtual school with my daughter from 8 to 1. And then starting 1:30, I'd have to work. I mean, it was absolutely exhausting. Yeah, I commend the women who are able to stay at home.
When I see it, I'm like, the husband think that they're executive assistant. They have all the responsibility of the home, all of, what I mean? Like, it's a lot of work. I think people kind of underestimate what stay-at-home moms do. Now, again, I'm talking about broad brushstroke. There's people that have help and helpers. So yay for you. But on average, if you were allowed, if your husband makes enough so that, I mean, I think America just requires for middle-class people two salaries just to maintain, really, unless your husband is doing extraordinarily well, or if you, the wife, are doing extraordinarily well. It usually is going to take 2 incomes just to survive and to live a kind of middle class lifestyle. Yeah. So yeah, that's very interesting that you're like, nope, other people don't have nothing to say with regards to mom guilt. I was going to ask you, Mecation says RM. Yes, darling. The Mecation sounds awesome. Yes, exactly. They definitely are not even aware, it sounds like, of manosphere talking points, which is that, career women are bad, or career women are overly focused on the self and don't want families. And I am so refreshed to hear, actually, we want both. So what do you find most rewarding about, let's start with motherhood. What is most rewarding for you guys?
Well, what I find most rewarding is, I mean, it's just being with your children, seeing your children develop and um, be little, be people, be
Coming
personalities,
people.
coming into their
Yes.
own and stuff. I think it's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, motherhood is truly the greatest gift on earth. I mean, to birth these children and then to be their guiding light, to just surround them in love and support is what I try to do, at least instill in my children. And I remember, I think one of your viewers even mentioned, would I ever do what my dad did and kind of put a career, require them to take this career path? Absolutely not. Not my babies. I want them to be happy and content in whatever they choose to do in this life. I am here to support them and to just give them all my love.
Fantastic. So just watching them develop into people. I've had, my niece is the first kind of like close up child I've been able to watch consistently through the stages. And it is a joy. It is a joy to watch little human beings develop into like people. It is beautiful. How about you? What's most rewarding for you, Myriam?
I think it's the same. It's watching them meet their milestones. It's being there for them when they need you. Just that smile that they give you, like even when you've had like a sleepless nights and they're crying and they're frustrated, and then they just happen to turn around and do that smile that totally melts your heart. I just,
or that little jokey face, like, you saw that, auntie?
Exactly. 2:00 in the morning.
Beautiful. So watching kids grow up, I think sometimes when we are seeing kids depicted in media, they look so bad and mean and aggressive, or they paint kids as a pain. And the beauty of this life, oh God help me, a part of it is family and seeing. If you have the ability, not everybody's bodies are wired the same, right? People have reproductive struggles. We'll respect all of that. But if that is something that you can do, it is such a beautiful privilege to be able to watch and help another human being come into their own. It's beautiful. So let me tell you, now people are going to say motherhood is great, but what is the challenge of motherhood? What is one of the difficulties where you're like, oh Lord, if I could rewrite that part of the script, I would?
Yeah, well, for me, it's them always being attached to me. I have to say, my 6-year-old not so much, because she's getting older, and she's developing her own interests.
Yeah.
But my 2-year-old is constantly attached to me. I mean, when I'm at home, I mean, it's
your body is not your own.
Yeah, I can't go to the bathroom without him. I mean, this little boy is in there. He's, I sleep with him too. We co-sleep. So it's pretty much all the time. Even his naps, usually he'll crawl up on my lap for his naps. Yeah, he always wants to be around. But you know what? When I do,
it won't last forever. Praise God.
It will not last forever. And you know what? There's gonna be a day where I'm gonna miss it. Where I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna say, "Where's my Lukey?"
Yeah.
And it's because now he has a friend and they want to go bike riding outside. So I try to also not get too annoyed sometimes.
Exactly. Miss Globe Girl adds, yes, these are the type of women in my circle in real life. This is the they don't talk about on YouTube channels. I hear you, sis. I know, because every time I'm like, are we really this bad? I don't know people like that. Okay, but over to you. What are your challenges with motherhood, Myriam?
I think it's the same. I think not only is there a lack of physical freedom, but there's also a lack of mental freedom, because your kids are always on your mind. Like literally from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, it's like, did I feed this one on time? Why was this crying for so long? Even when you're away from them, it's like, is so-and-so feeding them? Do they know that Wawa means, bottle and not water or something like that? So they're always on your mind. So it's like this mental fatigue. Along with the physical fatigue and along with the lack of sleep. So it's a lot.
Yeah. I could imagine. One of my cousins who recently became a mom last year during the pandemic was like, her dad, uncle, her dad was like, and you get to be like this for the rest of your life. He was saying it as like a point of like, you get to understand now what I go through. And you never stop worrying about them, right? And like to different degrees, but they are an extension of you in that sense for many, you know, in these kind of healthy, loving parental relationships. There's never going to be an end to that. Like, oh my gosh, I wonder what they're doing and if they're okay. So let's pivot now. So we talked about the good and the bad for motherhood. Let's talk about marriage. What is the best thing, or what do you enjoy most about being married?
For me, I enjoy the most. I mean, when it comes to the relationship, and not to go back, Suzette, but you know, in my relationship with my husband, we've had to struggle a lot in terms of having him participate more in the household duties. It's been a challenge. I can't pretend to say that, you know, he helps me a lot with that, because we've had to talk a lot about that. That, you know, he needs to help load the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher, you know.
He's more traditional. He wasn't used to I'm gonna look for you to help me, and that's understandable. I'm glad you have the other side of the coin, because we don't want to assume every man is going to be, you know, uber flexible when it comes to traditional roles. So your husband was more traditional, old school Haitian man, old school Haitian man. Oh Jesus!
Can't even boil water. Okay.
Oh,
so
wow.
Definitely that's been a struggle, but what I've enjoyed is his open-mindedness in trying to, you know, do better. You know, I tell him a lot now that, you know, hey, my biggest turn on isn't, you know, when he brings me flowers. No, it's when you pick up the broom and you broom the floor, you know.
You know, if you want to get it on, what you got to do, baby, get that broom.
Exactly. Pick up the broom.
Oh, wow. But that's good and that's honest.
Yeah.
Because no matter who you are, I don't think you're going to find a perfect man and a perfect woman, right?
Yeah.
And there are going to be parts of you. And again, it's interesting because your husband, you say, is a little older than you.
Yes.
Millennial men, I think, sometimes adapt a little bit more to a modern day concept of we both kind of contribute. And then when it comes to like X's and boomers, they're like, boo, I'm gonna need you to do this. And not everybody, there are exceptions to that rule for sure. Yeah. But I'm wondering if there is a you know, that age difference kind of contributes a little bit to that. Interesting. So marriage can be difficult, let's just say it. But what do you enjoy most about your husband, or about being married, Lourdes?
I mean, I just enjoy his presence. I mean, he's a very funny guy. I mean, and I enjoy the fact that my husband tries to go out of his way to make me happy, to make me smile. I mean, especially and to be more cooperative and helpful whenever I ask him to, you know, and definitely doing the things that I don't expect him to do, you know, he definitely goes out of his way to do. And I think that's what I definitely enjoy the most about him. And the fact that we've learned to now talk a lot about our future and what we want in that future. And I like how we've now, you know, we've taken two roads and made it one road now, one mission we have, you know, in terms of what we expect our retirement to be, and not even to go even so far there, but, you know, we do have a lot in common in terms of wanting to travel, and, you know, our weekends are filled with just spending time with the kids. Watching a lot of movies, because that is
Netflixes and chillings with the family. Netflixing and chilling.
Although he's more of a sci-fi kind of guy, I'm not into sci-fi. He's into the, you know,
futuristic. I've been watching some of that lately, and it's kind of weird. I'm like, what am I watching?
Yes. We recently watched the one on Netflix called The Addams Project with
I saw it.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he loved it, but, you know, I actually fell asleep and woke up when it was all over, and then he told me all about it, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, riveting.
I love it. And it sounds like you guys have kind of grown together, growing into your roles. Everybody don't have it kind of at the beginning. And this is Pierre Desroyers. I think, I don't know my French, my Creole, I don't know, sorry. He was waiting for that part where it's like, no, I got that old school husband. That husband is not trying to do any kind of housework. And I think it's truthful. We have a mixture. Every man is not the same. Every woman is not the same. But thanks, Pierre. I love it. So just being in his presence, him trying to, you know, help in ways that he wasn't normally, thinking, she wants me to contribute in that way. That's new to me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to make adjustments. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's what's up. Chemo on the super chat. Thank you for your always having such generosity. Chemo says, much love to the ladies. Thanks for the knowledge and experience you've shared. I appreciate you, Chemo. Thank you so much. So love the presence of him. Oh, I love that. Okay, Myriam, over to you. What do you enjoy most about being married?
Well, I think I'm one of the lucky few that actually married their soulmate and married their best friend. So, because we've been friends for so long, we enjoy each other's company before marriage, while married, and with children. So I think that's what we have going for us, is that regardless of what happens, I could be rich with this man and I could be poor with this man.
Girl, that's deep. Let me leave that alone. That's so deep. Good. That's good. So just having the privilege of being and finding and marrying your soulmate has been the most rewarding part. Like, whether you're above or whether you're below, whether you have a lot, whether you have a little, I love this man. I'm the soulmate. I'm the match of this man. So we good. I love that. Oh God. Okay. All right. So what are the challenges? What is the biggest challenge then of marriage? So, Lourdes, I think you might have talked about it a little bit, that the kind of expectations that you described, or do you see another challenge that you're like, if they would have told me this, I don't know. No, just kidding.
I mean, it's finding time, alone time. It's difficult. I mean, when you've done all of that, throughout the day, at night you're exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It's finding the energy to do that. Other things required. Exactly.
And he looking at you and you like, and it's not me making an excuse. I am literally like burnt out.
I know, exactly.
Lord. So do you do like staycations where the kids are with grandma or somebody, or do you kind of like make hotel time, or what? Like, how do y'all do that?
Well, yeah, something like that. We don't have.
I'm in your business, Lord. Sorry.
I know. No. I mean, I wish we could say we had more date nights. We don't have that, but again, it's like what Myriam's saying. You have to be very intentional. I mean, literally, it'll be 2 a.m. and somebody will wake somebody up and say, let's go, get on with it. And I don't think there's anything wrong by saying, okay, so we have to do that, 3 times a week, and it puts the, at least there's a time frame, there's something to meet, a time frame to achieve
a schedule.
Yeah. So they say it takes the spontaneity out of it, but sometimes I think the 2 toddlers are too little.
Yeah, I think when you have a baby and a toddler, I think it's something's necessary to keep that intimacy going, whether it's a schedule, whether it's, a date night, but it has to be intentional, and sometimes it just has to be planned, because I don't know who's going to take a nap,
Exactly.
Maybe he's the one to take a nap.
I'm telling you, when you get those breaks. So challenge is finding the me time and then the couple time. Okay. And how about you, Myriam? What's the biggest challenge you have found in marriage?
Has been. Yeah. Same. It's been finding the time to not just be intimate in terms of the bedroom intimate, but just not falling into a routine where you're just living as partners or as roommates. Yes, we get along and we're friends, but there also has to be that part where we're married also. So it has to be, whether it's flowers or cards or just, hey babe, I love you, babe, just something.
Text.
Okay. Something to remind each other that
song.
You're my boo.
I think we got some questions in the chat. Y'all kind of I guess no one wants to come up. They usually come up about this time. We're gonna wrap up here shortly. A few ending questions. Ace Butterfly, you have been almost like audit, sis. Thanks. Says, will the guests raise their children differently? That is, as it relates to the discussions of marriage and relationships and sex. You guys were like me. No one talked about it. It just happened for y'all, apparently. But what are you going to do in terms of that approach?
Definitely different. It's going to be more open with my children about what dating is, what's required in a marriage. Definitely a lot different than how my parents handled it. I don't think there's any shame or stigma that should really exist. In terms of what you should.
The human body.
about the human body. My goodness,
Oh.
it's like yeah.
Right.
Even my son is 2 years old, and I tell him, this is your penis. It's not your pee or your anything else. This is your penis. This is your vagina, and and all of that.
Yeah. How about you?
I think
it's the same approach, Myriam?
Yeah, I think it has to be the same, because if they don't get it from you, they're going to get it from social media. That's just the age that we live in. There's information everywhere, so you want to make sure that they get the right information. So I plan on having that conversation with both of my boys, and I have boys. So
okay, so yeah, you definitely gonna have to have it with the boys. Hello,
yes.
Ace adds: would you ladies consider having house cleaning help? Would their husbands be okay with additional help in the home?
I wouldn't have a problem with house cleaning help, and I don't think my husband would have an issue, but we're kind of, ingrained with that old school. It's like I have to clean the house before I have somebody else come and clean it.
Tidy up before the people come and tidy up. Like, oh my gosh, Mom, they're coming to clean it. Why am I tidying up my room before they come? Yeah, no, for real. But would you guys be open? Will that free up some of that time, that intimacy time, or yourself time?
Yes, that I would be open to that. It would free up time for us to do other things, even as a family, or whether it's intimate or as a family. But
I big up Andre, Terry. I see you, my friend. Nice to see you. All those watching, hit the like button. I'm gonna end on the entrepreneurial side, because again, it is almost unheard of, or again, in the pop culture of YouTube, that there are women who are business women who are also family women. This is almost like a crazy anomaly, apparently. But I know so many women who are both business women and family women. It's not an either or. It's not, your relationship or your family versus your education and your business and your hustle. So talk about the ups of the entrepreneurial journey. Would you start a firm again if you're given a choice? And what is the most rewarding thing about having you guys, work together and having your own law firm?
Freedom. I'll have to say.
Well, for me, definitely being our own boss and having that flexibility, especially, it's being able to spend more time with the kids too, being able to be control of your own schedule, create your own vacation. Yeah. Exactly, calling in when you need to, but at the same time though, calling in means, well, there's no money coming in.
No money's being made.
So it's a double-edged sword. Yes. Exactly. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, I do enjoy the flexibility and being able to, pick up my kids from school when, they are sick, and spending a little time with them is wonderful.
Fantastic. How about you, Myriam? What do you enjoy most?
Yeah, I would say it's the same. It's freedom. It's the ability to even choose the day that I choose to work. If I'm not feeling that great that day, I'm not going to work. I'm not. And also being able to work from home, to being available for your kids, being available for your husband, and even being available for your partner. If my sister has to pick up her kids and she has to go to court, I can watch the kids,
Drop them. Let's go. Y'all seem like a wonderful team. Like, you got it. I got you, sis. Like that's what it takes. The village, we talked about it yesterday. The village is what it takes. So what is the most challenging part about the entrepreneurial, the business side? What gives you the most grief, or when you look at it that sometimes you wish you could remove from the board?
I think one of the things that's a positive and a negative is accountability. When you work for a firm and you mess up or something like that, or you lost a case, it kind of looks bad on the firm, not necessarily on you, the attorney. But when you are the firm, you are the face of the firm, you are the workforce of the firm, you have to put not just 100%, you have to put 150%. And again, trying to balance that out with family and marriage can make that even more difficult.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Lourdes? I think Lourdes.
Yeah, the same. I mean, am I still here?
No, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. You were freezing a little bit. So we're going to wrap up right after this. Final question. Go ahead.
Okay. But definitely, it's just like Myriam said. And really, I mean, we got to work. We have to work, and we have to work really hard. I think extra hard. Because remember, too, we're women. We're Black women. I mean, it's hard enough because of our gender. But to add, our skin color on top of that is an extra challenge. So I think we go out of our way to really make sure that the work we're doing is very good work. It's not subpar. And yeah, there's definitely the challenges. There's some good, there's some bad, and just like you said, there's the ugly.
Yeah, that superwoman syndrome, that, oh my goodness, when I walk into that courtroom, how they see me, how they perceive me, my arguments have to be tight, my
Right.
emotions got to be tight. I can't, not be
Yeah.
prepared in the, to the utmost, which is an added pressure that sometimes our counterparts don't seem to have in the same way we do. So I hear you, that okay, now it's me. There's no firm that I'm working for label like, okay, that was, White and Case.
Yeah.
That was, now it's the
That we
Clerge.
can hide behind.
Yeah. So there's so many parts to you guys' story that I think will help. And I will give you a chance to just give final comments. And obviously, if you don't mind, RM or some please just drop their social media links one more time in the chat so people can find them. This has been such an enlightening conversation about how to find balance in, marriage and motherhood and business, and a look behind the curtain for millennials, where there is a generation that is seeking marriage and family along with career, not either or. So if you guys want to give any final comments, I would love to hear what you have to say, and maybe some words of inspiration for those who haven't started the journey. And again, we'd love to connect with you again. And guys, again, look in the chat for where you can find them if you have any real estate legal issues or other legal issues. But final comments, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think that for millennials, it's important to, just follow the stages. You're going to have this question of marriage and children that comes up in several stages of your life, whether it's in your teens, in your 20s, and your 30s. And it doesn't have to be the same. As you grow, so does your vision. But I think it's also finding self-fulfillment outside of marriage and outside of children. Like, your legacy doesn't have to be biology.
Understood. Not a lot of people want to agree with that, but we're so tied to that traditional woman's journey. And if it's outside of that, which it is more frequently now than before, how are we allowed to define ourselves? Can we still be happy? It's very interesting. How about you, Lourdes? Thank you, Myriam.
I think it comes down to the primal question that is always asked is, can you have it all? I mean, I think that you can have it all when there's content in what your all is. I think that, in life, it just requires there's sacrifices, and then there's balances that you just have to instill in your life. But I do think you can have it all. I feel like I do have it all. But again, there's the ups and downs, but you just go through them, and
but listen, you got to work hard for it. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's a lot of hard work behind having it all. It's not going to roll over and, you can rub its belly. Thanks, I'm here. No, it sounds like you guys really sacrifice a lot. And it is moments of joy here on the motherhood side, moments of joy there on the marriage side, moments of joy there on the career side. And it kind of, it ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. That's what I realized we have to accept. That, it's not a straight road. This journey of life is kind of like ebbs and flows. And you gotta, I think it was Maria Shriver was talking about her mom talking about that. Like, you are a vessel, like a boat on the waves, and there are going to be ups and downs, and that's the human experience. You got to just keep it moving. You're going to move forward. You're going to get highs. You're going to get lows in each area, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So I'm proud of you. Let me say it. I'm proud of my lady lawyer friends here. Fantastic examples of how it can be done, y'all. It exists. We know, again, a lot of women like this who are both married and career driven, if you want to call it career minded, contributors to their household, and who love their husbands, and husbands are, rightfully respected and have their, leadership roles and contribute in a myriad of ways. Thank you, Roland. He says, love the discussion, like and subscribe, y'all. We got to let them go. They got families. But thank you, says Ace Butterfly. Thank you to the guests for sharing their experience. Thank you, Ace Butterfly, for all those wonderful questions. Thank you. I see you coming in a little bit late, Ebony. Good to see you, my darling. It's all good. Watch the replay. Jets, you got here late. We're not boss women like that. I don't think you gotta really watch from the beginning, sir. All right, so we are done. Thank you so much, because these ladies are loving, are giving, are feminine, and are running a business. So I think the boss woman stereotype, I'm a boss chick, we're not even on that. And we all run our stuff, but we're not. Okay, you got to watch from the beginning. Love you. Thanks. Hang out for a little bit behind the scenes. Let me just say goodbye to you, y'all. Give it up again for Lourdes W. Clerge and Myriam Clerge of the Clerge Law Office. You saw them in the chat. Thank you for dropping their socials. Join me. I might actually do a little Patreon right before I kind of sign off for the day. So if you want more exclusive content, I'm going to probably chat it up and do a little bit of my own analysis of what we've talked about here. Hit the like button before you go. Find them on social media at Clerge Law Facebook, at Clerge Law Instagram. It's been fun, ladies. Thank you for coming over to the SuzetteSpeaks show. I hope you can come back.
Hey, I'll see you at brunch. Love that.
They're coming to my brunch, guys. Love you.
Yes.
Take